You do not need a better beginning. You need a decision. Men waste years waiting for circumstances to become more favorable before they begin the work that could have changed those circumstances. They wait for more money, more confidence, more knowledge, more encouragement, a better position, a cleaner past, a quieter season. Then one day they discover that the condition they were waiting for was never coming to rescue them. The beginning was already available. It was hidden inside the resources, limitations, responsibilities, and unfinished conditions they kept using as excuses. Look carefully at where you stand now. This is not necessarily where you will remain, but it is the only place from which movement can begin. You cannot start from next year. You cannot start from the position you wish you already held. You cannot start with the capital you hope to possess later. You begin with what is in your hands. That principle sounds ordinary, but it separates men of action from men of imagination. Imagination is powerful when it gives direction. It becomes dangerous when it becomes a substitute for movement. A man can spend 10 years picturing the life he wants while refusing to use the hour in front of him. Do not admire the picture more than the first step. If you want a different future, ask what present action agrees with it. That question brings ambition down from the clouds. Perhaps the action is small. Good. Small does not mean meaningless. A letter can begin an association. A book can begin specialized knowledge. A saved amount can begin capital. A difficult conversation can begin a new standard. 1 hour of disciplined practice can begin mastery. Great changes often enter through doors too small to impress an impatient man. Do not wait for a grand opening. Use the opening that exists. This is especially important if your present circumstances are discouraging. You may say, I am too far behind. Behind whom? According to whose timetable? Another man's progress is not proof that your starting point has lost value. You are dealing with your own facts. This is what personal initiative means. You stop demanding that the past become fair before the future is allowed to move. You act from the facts as they are. Perhaps you inherited little. Perhaps your education is incomplete. Perhaps your associations are weak. Perhaps you made decisions that created present difficulty. These facts matter, but facts are instructions, not chains. If education is weak, study. If association is weak, begin meeting better minds. If money is limited, learn economy and increase usefulness. If your reputation is damaged, begin rebuilding it through repeated conduct. Do not turn a condition into an identity. You may be in debt. That does not mean you are destined to remain a debtor. You may be inexperienced. That does not mean you are incapable. You may be unknown. That does not mean you have nothing worth developing. Describe conditions accurately. Then ask what can be changed. A man becomes dangerous to limitation when he stops using limitation as a description of himself. He says, this is where I am, not who I must remain. That sentence contains movement. And movement creates new evidence. You must understand how little evidence you need to begin. Many men want certainty before effort. They say, what if I choose the wrong road? Then choose the best road visible from present facts. Walk far enough to learn something. You can adjust. Action does not imprison you as much as indecision does. Indecision preserves ignorance. Movement produces information. You discover what you enjoy, what you lack, what the market values, who can help, what skill must be strengthened. You cannot think your way into all of this from a chair. Some knowledge appears only after participation. That is why your present position is sufficient for the first experiment. Not the final achievement, the first experiment. This distinction matters. You are not being asked to possess everything required for the destination. You are being asked to use what is required for the next intelligent move. Suppose you want to build an enterprise but have little capital. Perhaps your first move is not opening the enterprise. Perhaps it is learning the field, working inside it, saving, meeting suppliers, studying customers, learning sales. Now, the present limitation is not stopping you. It is telling you what stage you are in. Respect stages. The man who despises the early stage often tries to imitate the appearance of the later stage. He spends money to look established before becoming useful. He wants the office before the customers, the title before the skill, the appearance of success before the structure. Do not build that way. Begin where reality places you. Build foundations that nobody applauds. A strong foundation is still progress. There is dignity in being a serious beginner. You do not need to apologize for not knowing what you have not yet learned. Ask, study, practice. The embarrassment of beginning is cheaper than the regret of never beginning. Remember that when pride speaks, pride will tell you that you should already be further ahead, perhaps, but you are not. So what will you do with the fact? You can punish yourself or you can proceed. Proceed. The man who begins humbly today may know more in 3 years than the man who spends those 3 years protecting his pride. Time rewards participation. It does not reward embarrassment. This also means you must stop waiting to feel ready. Readiness is often created after commitment. Before commitment, the mind keeps every escape open. You study casually because nothing depends upon the knowledge. You save irregularly because the purpose is vague. You practice when convenient because no decision has been made. Then you say, I am not ready. Of course you are not. You have not organized yourself around anything. Make a decision, and preparation changes character. Now the study has a reason. The savings have a purpose. The practice has a standard. A definite aim turns scattered activity into preparation. That is why decision frequently precedes confidence. A man waits for confidence because he believes confidence will make action easy. Action often produces confidence because action creates evidence. You keep one promise to yourself, evidence. You learn one skill, evidence. You survive one uncomfortable conversation, evidence. You make one small sale, evidence. Confidence begins accumulating from facts. This is more reliable than trying to manufacture a grand feeling before you have done anything. Do not require emotional certainty. Require enough conviction for movement. You can be afraid and still begin. You can be uncertain and still begin. You can be embarrassed and still begin. Courage is not a mood reserved for men without doubt. It is conduct chosen while doubt exists. Use it. Another excuse is lack of opportunity. A man says, there is no opportunity where I am. Sometimes the environment is genuinely limited. Then part of the plan may be changing the environment. But before declaring a place empty, ask whether you have become valuable enough to recognize and create openings within it. Opportunity is not always a vacant chair waiting with your name upon it. Sometimes it appears as a problem nobody wants to solve, an inefficient process, an underserved customer, a neglected skill, a responsibility others avoid. These are openings disguised as inconvenience. The man waiting only for impressive opportunities may walk past useful ones every day. Train yourself to ask, where is value missing? That question can uncover a beginning almost anywhere. If an employer gives you ordinary work, can you perform it unusually well? Can you become more reliable? Can you learn the work around your own position? Can you understand why the enterprise makes money? Can you observe how customers decide? You are not merely earning wages. You can also be gathering knowledge. A poor attitude sees only the current position. A purposeful attitude asks what can be extracted from it. Do not waste environments merely because you do not intend to remain there forever. Use them. This is one reason I reject the belief that you must first possess ideal conditions. Ideal conditions can make a man lazy. Limitation can force imagination. If capital is small, you must think carefully. If contacts are few, you must learn how to build relationships. If skill is weak, you must practice. The limitation can become a demand for development. Again, do not glorify hardship. If better tools are available, use them. If capital can be obtained intelligently, obtain it. You are not required to remain limited just to prove character. The point is simpler. Do not wait for the limitation to disappear before you begin becoming capable of overcoming it. That is the trap. A man says, I will become disciplined when the pressure is gone. Discipline is what may remove part of the pressure. I will begin saving when I earn more. The habit of saving may need to begin before the income rises. I will become confident when someone gives me a chance. Confidence may grow because you prepare before the chance appears. Reverse the order. Become before circumstances demand proof. Prepare before opportunity arrives. Then when the door opens, you are not introducing yourself to your own ambition for the first time. You are ready to move. This is how apparent luck often works. One man sees an unexpected opening and cannot use it. Another sees the same opening and acts because years of quiet preparation made him ready. People call the second man fortunate. They did not watch the preparation. Do not concern yourself with being seen preparing. Concern yourself with being prepared. Your beginning may be invisible. That is fine. Roots are invisible too. The important question is whether something real is growing. Measure that. Are you more capable than 6 months ago? Do you know more? Have you saved something? Have you improved your associations? Have you become more reliable? Have you created evidence of skill? These are beginnings becoming foundations. Do not insult them because the final result has not arrived. Take inventory instead. What do you have? Time? Some ability? Developable? Knowledge? Enough to locate more? Relationships? Perhaps a few worth strengthening. A reputation? Then improve it. A body capable of work? Use it responsibly. Imagination? Direct it. You may have less than another man. You probably have more than you have organized. Organization often matters before acquisition. Bring your present resources under purpose. 1 hour becomes study. One acquaintance becomes an introduction. One skill becomes service. One saving becomes capital. Now the same life begins producing different evidence. That is what a definite chief aim does. It does not magically change your starting point. It gives the starting point instructions. And once your present circumstances receive clear instructions, another question becomes unavoidable. If you truly can begin from here, then what exactly should you begin building first? Because not every action deserves equal attention, and the next stage is learning how to identify the few moves that can turn your present position into genuine momentum. The first thing to build is not speed. It is direction. Activity is not momentum. Momentum appears when repeated action begins producing a new position. The man who feels behind is easily tempted to do everything at once. Then his effort becomes scattered. He exhausts himself without creating leverage. Do not respond to a late beginning by becoming frantic. Respond by becoming selective. Ask which one or two changes would improve several other areas at the same time. That is where intelligent beginning starts. Perhaps specialized knowledge is the lever. If one valuable skill could increase your income, confidence, usefulness, and access to better work, then developing that skill deserves priority. Perhaps financial order is the lever. If debt and disorder keep forcing every decision, then creating margin may give you freedom to make better moves later. Perhaps your associations are the lever. If you are isolated from men who know the field you intend to enter, then one serious relationship may teach you more than months of guessing. Look for the action that opens other actions. Do not merely ask, "What can I do?" Ask, "What can I do that changes what becomes possible next?" This is strategic effort. A small action can carry unusual force when it improves position. Suppose you spend 1 year learning a specialized ability that the market values. The immediate result may look modest, but that ability can alter income for decades. It can change who seeks your services. It can change the kind of enterprise you are capable of building. It can give you confidence based upon competence rather than wishful thinking. That year was not small. It was foundational. This is why you must judge actions by consequence, not appearance. The impressive move is not always the important move. A man may rent a larger office and appear to be advancing. Another man may spend the same money mastering sales and remain in a modest room. 3 years later, who has built more leverage? Appearance cannot answer that question. Results will. Do not spend early energy trying to make the beginning look successful. Make it useful. Useful beginnings often look ordinary. You may need to create a schedule, pay off one obligation, read difficult material, practice a skill where nobody sees you, visit a man whose experience can shorten your learning, write 50 letters before one meaningful answer arrives. These things lack drama. That is one reason they work. Most people abandon ordinary disciplines before those disciplines have time to compound. You must become patient enough to let simple actions gather force. But patience does not mean waiting vaguely. Give your beginning structure. Choose a definite objective for the next 90 days, not 10 objectives. One central improvement. What would make you measurably stronger by the end of that period? More knowledge, more savings, a completed body of work, a stronger sales ability, a healthier routine, a list of serious contacts. Choose according to the bottleneck. The bottleneck is the limitation currently restricting the rest of the plan. Find it. If you have ability, but no one knows your work, visibility may be the bottleneck. If opportunities appear, but you cannot perform at the required level, skill is the bottleneck. If skill is strong, but every dollar is already committed, financial margin may be the bottleneck. If you have ideas but never complete anything, discipline is the bottleneck. This kind of diagnosis prevents wasted effort. Do not improve what is already sufficient while ignoring what is stopping movement. A man often practices what he already does well because competence feels comfortable. He avoids the weak point because the weak point makes him feel inadequate. Then years pass and the same weakness keeps limiting him. Turn toward it. The place you resist examining may contain the next door. If you cannot sell, learn to sell. If you cannot speak clearly, practice speaking. If you cannot manage money, study money. If you cannot finish, build a system for finishing. Do not protect weakness with identity. I am simply not good at, that is not a useful conclusion. Perhaps you are not good at it yet. Perhaps you never need mastery. But if the ability is essential to your purpose, you need enough competence to prevent it from controlling your future. This is where specialized knowledge becomes practical. You do not need to know everything. You need to know what your aim requires, and you need access to people who know what you do not. That is why the mastermind principle becomes important early. A man beginning from limited circumstances often imagines he must solve every problem alone because he has little to offer. Wrong. You may not have wealth. You can offer reliability. You can offer effort. You can offer curiosity. You can offer a useful skill. You can offer introductions. You can offer honest assistance. Relationships are not built only by powerful men exchanging large favors. They often begin with small usefulness and mutual respect. Stop waiting until you are successful before meeting successful people. Approach with humility. Ask intelligent questions. Do not demand their time carelessly. Study enough that your question proves you have already done some work. Then listen. One good conversation can prevent years of avoidable error. But do not become a collector of advice. Advice has value only when it enters conduct. A man can spend months speaking with experienced people and still remain passive because every new opinion gives him another reason to delay. At some point, choose. Use the best facts available. Act. Then reality becomes another advisor. This pattern should become normal. Learn. Act. Measure. Correct. Act again. That is how momentum is built. Not by finding one perfect plan, by creating a cycle that improves itself. The man who can correct course while moving will often pass the man who waits for certainty before leaving. You do not need to fear imperfect beginnings as much as you fear permanent hesitation. An imperfect beginning can be improved. Nothing can be improved if it never begins. This is especially true when you think you lack confidence. Confidence is often the result of completed cycles. You decide something. You act. You discover a problem. You adjust. You complete the task. Now, the mind has evidence that difficulty does not necessarily stop you.